Welcome back to the Voodoo Garden. Shaking it up here, boss. I have pyrethrin and neem oil, 70% neem oil. These I wanted to give you a little bit of a tip for because I think they're going to help you. They're going to help you on your indoor gardening if you're doing an indoor garden or an outdoor garden this season because spring is just beginning. What I do is I bought this stuff called 70% neem oil. If you haven't ever used neem oil or heard of neem oil, or you wonder about neem oil, or you dream about neem oil, or you like Captain Nemo, this is 70% neem oil. And this is something I bought online. I don't know what brand it is. I'm not even going to list the brand because it probably doesn't exist anymore. I've had this for about 4 years. Anyway, back to the neem oil. This is an insecticide. And it's an insecticide that is made from an evergreen shrub. I try to use things as natural as possible. I am not Johnny Hug on a Tree, so I don't use everything 100%. So don't go thinking that I am, okay? That would be a total mistake. I do the best I can with as organic as I can possibly get, okay? I use plastic pots, for crying out loud. How organic is that? Anyway, neem oil is made from an evergreen shrub, so it's a perfectly natural thing. It's not made by Dow Chemical or Monsanto or anything, and it's not made from crushed human babies. And then you got pyrethrin. Pyrethrin is made from chrysanthemums. Yeah, those flowers that smell really good at the florist. Yeah, it's made from chrysanthemums, pyrethrin, okay? Now these two products are the only products I ever use to get rid of insects, except for the predatory mites, all right? But most people can't afford the predatory mites, or they don't want to deal with them because they're creepy crawlies. Now, here is what you do. A lot of folks like to use potting soil. I understand that, I accept that, I'm perfectly okay with that. I try to stay away from it because you know I have a phobia for fungus gnats, right? Well, I figure if I don't buy potting soil, I won't get fungus gnats because I opened up a bag and they all just flew out one day and I died a little inside. But I figured out a way around that, okay? I actually tested this. I bought another bag of potting soil and I put it in here, and what I did was I opened it up and I saw fungus gnat. All right, and I didn't mean to buy one with fungus gnats. I just thought, well, I'm going to try this and put it in the thing and see if fungus gnats grow. Well, I opened it up and there was already a live fungus gnat, so I thought, well, okay, this is good. So what I did is I poured a layer of it about maybe this thick, a couple inches deep, into this plastic tub, a regular plastic tub. And then I sprayed my magic elixir, and this is an old off bottle, you know, with the off that you spray on yourself for mosquitoes. Well, I've had this for years, and the reason I use this spray bottle is because off spray bottles, weird thing, they're made to spray oils. Regular spray bottles, I don't know if it's their gaskets inside this mechanism, they eventually give out. I emptied out the off bottle, washed it out with hot water and soap, and then what I did was I mixed up a little bit of neem, a little bit of pyrethrin, and mostly water into this bottle. And the neem floats to the top because it's an oil, all right? And it's mostly water. So what I do is I shake it up. And I use this. So back to the potting soil. I lay in a layer about this deep in there. I spray it. I don't douse it in water. I just go like this. I go about 4 shots of this on top of that. And then I lay another layer of potting soil and I do the same thing. I keep doing that. And what it'll do is the nature of these pesticides, and by the way, with any pesticide, whether it's organic or not, you want to be careful around children, pets, and yourself if you're pregnant, all right? I want to let you know that because even though something is natural, I mean, boiled eggs are natural, but you know what? If you slip and fall, you can kill yourself. But pyrethrin kills on contact. That's the nature of pyrethrin. That's all it does. It has no residual. It doesn't leave any kind of film to coat the plants and kill insects, and it kills on contact. That's all it does. Now this is about the opposite. This is neem oil. Neem oil doesn't kill on contact. Neem oil does something weird to the insect and it kills over time. So it's a good thing to mix with water and give your soil a soil drench for things like fungus gnats, because it gets in there. It's like a systemic. It gets in there, it stays in the soil for a while, and it kills the insects. Now, by mixing these two together with some water, and I'm not, let's see. All right, I'll give you the ratio. For something like this, which would be about maybe 1.5 cups, I use 2 tablespoons of neem, and I use about 2 tablespoons of pyrethrin, and then I fill it up with water. Seems awful strong, but then again, I'm not giving these bugs a second chance. I don't want to spray my plants and then have the bugs come back, because each time you treat a plant, it's a stress on the plant. So you want to make sure you get it the first time. Some people are asking me, Ray, I got aphids and I keep spraying and I keep treating them and they keep coming back, and keep telling them, you gotta get them the first time. Same thing with fungus gnats. If you notice fungus gnats in a pot, you can assume that they're in every single pot in every single room of your house. No excuses, folks. You have to treat every single plant. It's like if one of your kids has the flu, you know the other one does. Okay, so what I do is I take this and I spray it in layers. I put the lid on and I don't use it for about a week. What that does is the pyrethrin is going to kill the adults on contact. The neem is going to work on their babies, and I'm going to kill their children over time. And it eventually wears away. It has a lifespan. And it'll wear away, and it'll have a little bit of a smell, but it isn't going to hurt your plants. And then when you're ready to use it, toss it in a pot. You have sterile soil, because the only way to sterilize the soil that has fungus gnats is to bake it. And I've baked potting soil before. You don't want to do that. Oh, no. It reeks. My house stunk like potting soil for a long time. Plus, if you're using potting soil, more than likely there are inorganic fertilizers in it. Like, say, if you get Miracle-Gro, and if you bake Miracle-Gro, it has inorganic fertilizers in there. And what do you want? Do you really want to heat that up to 400 degrees in your oven and have that gas going throughout your house? That cannot be healthy for anybody. So this is a better way, I think, of sterilizing my soil. So anyway, there's a tip for you. And also out in your garden, if you have insects, pyrethrin is my choice for insects. I never use neem out in the garden because I never need it. Any insect you see crawling will die instantly when sprayed with this if it's mixed with water and done correctly, okay? And you can use this safely on your plants. And it'll rinse right off if you want to eat your plants in a couple days or so. But anyway, that is my helpful tip for you for your garden for pesticides. Now, somebody asked me, and I don't know who she is, so she'll just remain nameless. She posted a comment on one of my Voodoo Garden videos and asked, Ray, how do you grow your rose inside? Because I mentioned that I have a new rose. I got this one, and it was on sale after, I think it was Valentine's Day. Yeah, you get the little mini roses and stuff. Look at this. It's not so mini anymore, is it? Yeah, it had roses on it, and I believe I gave you a nice up-close shot. Well, it had roses, and the roses bloomed. They didn't have any smell, but they were pretty. And then as soon as they were bloomed, I looked at them for a while. I kept them on for a couple days, cut their little heads off. And I cut them back down. And what's happening is it's getting new ones. It's getting them all over the place. Plus, it's putting out new growth. And this is kind of cool. If you're going to be growing indoor plants, the best advice I can give you is rich, well-drained soil, okay? And don't overwater them. Outside, it's easy to not overwater because you have an unlimited soil space. It'll soak it up and then drain away. It's easier to not overwater outside. Inside, there is a chance that you're going to overwater. Now, this brings me to another thing. I'm not done here, but I want to show you, okay? I've been asked many times, Ray, how do you water your plants when you don't have holes on the bottom of your pots? Well, I actually do have holes on the bottom of all my pots, except for the little cups that I start seeds in, but they have built-in catchers for the water. Check this out. See, here's the pot. Here's the holes on the bottom. Now, there's also a tray that snaps onto the bottom of this, okay? And let me show you what it looks like. This is the catcher tray, and it catches about maybe a ½ an inch of water, but the holes touch the bottom so that if it gets a little bit too much water, it catches in this tray, and then the plant will gradually suck it back up as it needs it. It's good not to overwater your plants, though. Don't use this as an extra water reserve for your plant. That's not a good idea. Trust me, I found this out the hard way. I'm gonna have to clean this thing. I gotta clean the pots. I'm a little bit lazy. But anyway, back to the rose question. See, all of this connects. I grow all my plants in a container that has a drip tray on the bottom so it catches the water. But one thing you want to learn, like I keep preaching over and over, is learn how to water your plants. Don't just count on those drip trays like, oh, I'll just dump a whole bunch of water and it'll catch anything. No, bad dog. You don't want to do that. You want to learn how to take care of your plants. So I don't overwater my plants. I just water them enough to give them some water. I let the roots dry out a little bit, then give them some more water. It seems to work for just about everything I grow. And since it is growing, I must be doing it right. Because if I wasn't doing it right, they'd be dead, right? So I'm doing it right because they're alive. Now with roses, the basics of roses are rich, well-drained, acidic soil, okay? And they do have potting soil specifically for roses, and it's an acidic blend of potting soil. Or if you don't want to buy potting soil, I mix my coir with worm castings with vermiculite, you can take another step and take another equal part of peat moss and mix that in with the soil. Peat moss is acidic. Your roses are going to love that, and it's a permanent acidic. So if you mix in equal parts of peat moss, let's go. Let's see if I can remember it. Peat moss, worm castings, coir, and then a heavy sprinkle of vermiculite, and then water it with a water that has a very mild organic fertilizer. Your rose is going to be absolutely happy. Roses love bright light. They can grow in full sun, but I seem to have the best luck when they're grown in a really bright shaded area, okay? Mine are growing underneath these lights, which is basically like bright shade outside. And this one's doing really well. It's not overly light, it's not overly dark. Here I come again. See the color on this? It's a beautiful color. Now, while I have you up close here, I'm going to show you the lower leaves. You're going to get some lower leaves that are going to turn light and die. That is perfectly fine. Now roses, this is my experience, okay? I am not a rose expert. I am a rose novice, okay? But with my roses, I notice that the lower leaves are very susceptible to a fungus infection, you know, with any kind of like little blighty type stuff. So what I try to do is I try to keep the leaves trimmed down around the bottom, and I don't overwater. I let it dry out. That's why I say give it a good watering, let it dry out. Dry soil and keeping the leaves away will help keep the fungus off of your leaves for your roses. This will work outside as well. If you keep the lower leaves trimmed off, that'll help keep the fungus off your leaves. Okay, that does it for the roses. I hope that helps you with your growing your roses inside. I just kind of wing it. That's what I do. Next tip is, this is something that a lot of people have heard of, but it's the first time I've ever had my hands on this. It's called rooting hormone. This brand is called Root Boost, but you can get any brand. Just go onto Google and type in rooting hormone, and you can buy this. It's a white powder. It looks just like powdered sugar, but trust me, it doesn't taste like powdered sugar. Don't even ask me how I know. Don't ask now. But I want to show you something. Remember that this is an eggplant, and remember this eggplant was growing in that little red cup, and it was goat hair and nothing else, no fertilizer or at all. This plant has never gotten one single drop of fertilizer in its entire life. This little eggplant started its life in this little red solo cup, and it was 50% coir and 50% goat hair. No nutrition that I know of, except for whatever the goat hair was giving it. And then I transplanted it into this. Yep. And this is a 6-inch pot, and you can see the stem is looking okay. It's a little thin on the bottom, but that's why I transplanted it. It was looking kind of top heavy. And I transplanted it into this 6-inch pot, and look at the leaves. I can turn it sideways. Look at the size of these leaves compared to my hand. You know, little dinner plates, aren't they? They're beautiful. These plants, eggplants, will start out like that. They always tend to have a thinner stalk at the bottom, but once the sun hits them and they're outside growing in the garden, they get their second wind and they go nuts. But to keep them from falling over, I'm going to cut off this leaf and this lower leaf. That'll take a little bit of weight off of the plant and give it time, because they love to put out big leaves right off the bat, and you don't need your plant falling over. And of course it's growing inside. If it's growing outside, it'd have a little bit of a thicker stem. But anyway, I wanted to show you this because I did a little trick with it. I'm like the Wizard of Oz when it comes to plants. I'm always doing really strange stuff because I get curious, you know, and I loved science when I was a kid, and I was always really curious. Good thing I didn't have a real chemistry set. I probably would have blown myself up. But anyway, back to this, my powdered sugar, I call it. It is rooting hormone. And what I thought was, okay, first of all, what rooting hormone is, for those of you who don't know, and I always assume there are people who don't know things. That's why I'm here, to teach you the basics, okay? Now, rooting hormone is a powder, and it's designed to spur a cutting into forming roots. Like you take a cutting from a rose, or a tomato, or a pepper, or anything in the world, and then you take a cutting, make a nice clean cut, remove the lower leaves, dunk it in water, shake off the excess water, open this up, put it in there, shake it around, dust it like you would a sugar cookie. You dust it in rooting hormone, then tap off the rest and shove it into a cup with some light not too rich soil, okay, because you don't need rich soil when you're doing cutting. That comes later after it gets roots, okay. You put it in there, keep it moist, and then it starts forming roots. This stuff spurs a cutting into forming roots faster and more efficiently than it would naturally. Have you ever taken cuttings and you put them into soil or water and then they just kind of rot away? If you use rooting hormone, you have a lot better chance of success. Well, I got me some rooting hormone, but I didn't get it for any kind of rooting purpose. I had an idea. So what I did was I took a teaspoon of this, I mixed it in with a gallon of water. Now, first I put it in with cold water, and it just floated. It just floated, and I couldn't mix it in together, and it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It's kind of like when you put water on peat moss. You know how it just kind of bubbles up on there? Well, anyway, I thought, what if I used warm water? So I used very, very warm water, and it worked. I put a teaspoon into a gallon, mixed it in with very warm water, put the lid on, shook it up really, really good, and let it set for a day. And I've been watering this with rooting hormone water. I should get an evil laugh. And that's what I've been doing. No, this is not a food for a plant, but what it's doing to this plant is, and this is just regular, my potting soil mix that I make up, okay? So it's nothing spectacular. And I don't have any fertilizer. I had that fertilizer, it wasn't any good, and I never got around to buying a new thing of fertilizer. So I don't have a drop of fertilizer in this entire house. But the rooting hormone caused this to send out roots fast and furious in a matter of a week. And it just went nutso. So anyway, when you're, the reason I'm mentioning this is that this is spring. We have our little starters going in our house, and we're trying to get them going and trying to get them ready for outside. What you could do, and this only cost me a couple dollars, okay? You can get this at any Walmart, Lowe's, order it online, whatever you want to do. It only costs a few dollars. And a little bit will go a long way. Don't use a ton. You know, this is not like cookies. More is better, okay? Use just a little bit. A teaspoon per gallon of water, and water with that water on your seedlings. And what that will do is it will cause your seedlings to grow roots. You don't have to dip them in it or anything like that. You grow your seedlings like normal, like little seeds in cups and everything, and then you just use this water like maybe every other time you water your plants. And you're going to notice your seedlings are going to grow a lot faster, a lot better. They're going to have better root systems and be able to support a better plant. And what this is going to do is this is going to help your little seedlings get a lot better start. And I can't believe I missed this kind of connection so many years. And that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to use this. And also, when you're transplanting your plants into the garden, if you want to take a bucket of water, like a 5-gallon bucket of water, put it in like a heaping tablespoon into warm water, mix it in, let the water cool down. Don't water your plants with hot water or warm water. Bozo no-no on that one, okay? Let it cool down. And then when you transplant your plants into your garden, water them with a little bit of this. And what that's going to do is it's going to lessen the shock when you transplant your plants into the garden. It'll get their roots growing out into the soil a little bit faster, and it gives you that boost that you're going to need in the spring, okay? So there's Ray's tip for you on getting your plants started in the spring. I hope that helped you. It's helping me, and I couldn't believe, and like I said, there's no fertilizer in this yet. So once it gets outside, it's going to be doing phenomenal. And I started doing this with a lot of my plants in here. I thought, what the heck? So everything is getting this. But I need to start getting me some fertilizer, because the spider plant, as impressive as it was, is starting to show the signs of no fertilizer. And what it's doing is the leaves are come on, I'll show you the leaves. Now, this mother of all spider plants really did well for me, and I've shown it a bunch of times. And yeah, it does put out a lot of babies, but you know, each baby that it puts out, each new plant, doesn't have itself rooted in reality here. It is leeching off its mother. Kind of like some of my friends when I was kids. But it's getting 100% of its nutrition from the mother plant. And each mother has dozens and dozens of babies to support. You think about that now. That is a lot of strain on that plant. And it's a lot of strain on this soil. This is not a huge pot. So eventually, and this is not some supercharged soil. This is just my potting mix. And like I said, I haven't had any fertilizer in here for a dog's years. So there is nothing being fed to this plant. Now, I did have some extra soil that I hadn't used, and I want to show you the difference, okay? Look at this. Up here on the shelf, I have these little potted babies, okay? These were just itty-bitty babies, like over here, and I cut one off, and I put them in the pot, and look at that. See, they don't have anything to support yet. Actually, this baby is having a baby too. I think I should have given it the talk. But yeah, this young baby had a baby, but I wanted to show you this. look at how much darker and richer the leaves are on this than the mother plant. See, the mother is exhausted. And what I'm tempted to do is cut off the babies, fertilize her, and let her get a boost, and then she can start more babies. And I think that's what I'm going to do. And I know that this is not something that people like to see, like, oh no, Ray, it's a perfect plant. Well, you know what? Plants require maintenance, and they can't be showstoppers all the time. You have to do things to them. You have to cut your tomato plants back. You have to prune leaves off. Sometimes with a spider plant, it's a good thing to get those babies off of there, give the mother a chance to recharge, and she's going to give back a lot better. Because even if I fertilized her now, it would be hard for her to maintain all of those babies. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But I wanted to show you that the difference of a plant that's low on nutrition and one that is high on nutrition. I love this plant. I really do. And this one is going to grow really nice. I think I'm going to put it in the corner. And it's going to grow in the voodoo garden beautifully. Philodendrons grow beautifully in not so perfect light. This is considered bright shade outside, and that is the perfect climate for a philodendron. So I know it's going to go good, and you can take clippings off philodendrons so easy. Watch for this plant in the future. I guarantee you it is going to be a permanent cast member in the voodoo garden because it's going to grow, it's going to spread. I'm going to take clippings. I'm going to be going all over the place with this thing. $2 at Walmart. $2. They had that on sale because they brought in all the new stuff. And oh, the new stuff was just nuts. Oh, it just made me happy. I tell you something, my perfect place to be is in the garden section of Walmart is wonderful. I know some people don't like Walmart. Let's just agree to disagree, okay? But I gotta say, their garden section, the one that I go to over in Atlantic, Iowa, it is incredible. They have things that I haven't seen at Walmart in ages. It was refreshing, it smelled good, it looked good, it was warm out there. Spring is in my bones, folks. I just can't wait to get out there. But anyway, my new edition. And I'm going to wrap this up because I got to go film a Praxis 5572 episode. Today is my filming episode, so I got to get going. I'm all caffeinated up. I got to get out there. I got to do some stuff. But I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to. You'll see this episode in a few days on the Praxis channel. So be sure to go over there and check it out. I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I saw at Walmart and some of the weird. The nonsense that I found in how things are done in garden centers. I think it's really strange, and I wonder if you're going to agree with me. So anyway, check that out on my Praxis 55712 channel. It's not going to be a bad thing. It's just a strange little quirky rant of mine, and I want to get your opinion. Plus, I want to show you a couple of things that are going on outside. It's really kind of nice. It's a cold, breezy morning, and it's a good day to get outside. So grab your coats. We'll go on outside on the Praxis channel. But for right now, here in the Voodoo Garden, I hope you enjoyed some of the tips that I gave you. Other than that, I think I'm pretty much done. This is Ray, the over-caffeinated Ray. I'm out of here. Have a great day. Okay. So, take my powdered sugar.